you are. Because as you're in your physical form, when you know what you don't want, you are launching a rocket of desire about what you do want. And that vibrational emission is transmitted from you and received by your inner being. And your vibrational reality is expanding. We call that your vortex. We want so much for you to accept it as something that is real and something that is now, especially since it's where your inner being is. Your inner being standing there as the never ending, always in the moment culmination of all that your life is causing you to be. So that vibrational reality is vivid, but the most important thing that we are wanting to say about that right now is that that is your most powerful point of attraction. Knowing what you don't want may be what you and your human thoughts are thinking most about. But this vibrational reality that you have been and are generating, that's really what is most powerfully being responded to. We have said over time that that point of attraction is millions of times more powerful than what you're giving your thoughts to right here, right now. And that's why we can always say to you with absolute certainty that the well-being is dominant and will always prevail. But there is a question about how much you torture yourself in any given moment in time as you focus upon a now reality rather than focusing toward the solution reality. You cannot focus upon a problem and a solution at the same time, but we are not asking you to do that. You came knowing that you would focus upon what's happening around you, knowing that by knowing what you don't want, that there would be a culminating within you, a vibrational launching of clarity of what you do want. And you knew it was a good idea. You did not say, I'll go forth and be surrounded only by things that please me in every moment, and therefore my vibrational offering will be easy because it will just be a knee-jerk reaction to what I'm observing. You said, I'll go forth into this new environment, into this always new environment, physical environment, ever-changing environment. And as I focus there, I will continuously, steadily launch rockets of desire. And those rockets of desire will really represent who I am. You knew that before your birth into this physical body. And so we want to remind you that that is really what's going on. This vortex version of you, this non-physical version of you, this preceding version of you, this getting ready to be ready to be ready to manifest version of you. This is pure positive energy, and your inner being is focused there. Source energy is focused there. And the well-being, the collective well-being of the collective consciousness of your planet right now has caused this vortex to vibrate and summon with such power and clarity that as you're able to just get a whiff of it and turn your attention to it just a little bit, you will feel not just relief from focusing in opposition to the larger part of you, but you will begin, if you stay there for just a little bit, to feel your momentum join the momentum, the vibrational frequency momentum of this enormous flow of well-being that is happening around your planet. You get to be in on the leading edge of all of this. Of course, it doesn't matter if you are or not. In other words, terrible things aren't going to come to you because you're focused in a way that makes you feel fear or despair. It doesn't work that fast. It's not like that. You have a huge buffer of well-being. You have more well-being than you know. So we are not encouraging your attention toward the solution part of who you are or to the whole of who you are because there is an urgency or a desperation for you that requires it. We're encouraging it because we don't think for a moment you should feel fear. We don't think for a moment you should feel despair. We're talking in terms of how we would feel if we were standing in your physical shoes. We would focus ourselves as best we can in the direction of what feels best to you moment by moment. We also want you to know that what is, in terms of your now reality, is. In other words, we're not asking you to deny it or to fake it or pretend that it's something else, because you are adaptive beings and you can adapt to your environment. You can adapt to these temporary conditions. You can do it with greater ease than you may know right now. So we're not asking you to just all of a sudden turn your attention to something that feels better. It's not even possible really to do that. It would be like seeing someone who is just coming off the ski lift and they are headed down the ski slope and they hit some rough snow, an icy patch, something that trips them up, and now they are tumbling downward on the slope. And you could not look at them and say to them, stop, right now, stop, and expect them to do that, because they've got some momentum going. And it's all right that you have some going too. But when you remember that while you have some momentum going, in response to what you're watching on television or hearing from one another or from social media, while you are naturally responding to what you see, no one's asking you to stop thinking that way or stop feeling what you're feeling, because that is irrational. But what we are encouraging you to do is to recognize that you do have an inner being who has a different perspective, an overview, an inner being who always, at all times, knows right where you are standing in your human perspective and form in relationship to where you want to be. And we want to say that you have never launched such clarity before. Your inner being is offering a vibrational frequency to you with such clarity that the likelihood of you tuning into it is much greater now than ever before. Esther used to tease with us and with Jerry, and she would say, Abraham, why is it that I always seem to shine in a crisis? And what she meant was, didn't matter if there was something going wrong, it seemed to cause her to rise to the occasion. And we always teased her and said, because the crisis makes you focus. And we want you to realize that you have the opportunity to focus not upon the crises, but upon the solutions. Not upon where you are right now, but where your vibrational reality has come to be as a result of what you have been observing. We want you to feel the wholeness of who you are, or at least we want you to acknowledge that there is that wholeness of you that is broadcasting to you, and that it is possible for you to find that frequency. And when you do, you will feel what it feels like from our point of view. You'll feel clarity, because that's what we feel. And you will feel stability, because that's what we know. And you will feel eagerness, because new ideas are flowing. You will feel newfound creativity. Esther said, it feels like my brain is firing on all cylinders. It's like many thoughts are coming one after the other, and many times on different subjects, but still there is a continuity to it all. She is not feeling overwhelmed or confused, as normal life sometimes causes her to feel, because there is a stronger asking globally, a stronger asking from her personally, and all of that is serving her when she gets in the vicinity of us, of who we are, and it will serve you too. So there's lots to think about, we know, and there are many opportunities to think about subjects of large variety from different points of view. And we want to remind you that it's normal to have a knee-jerk response to something, that when you're calibrated to that energy will call you to. In other words, there's a certain momentum that you will feel, maybe some urges or something that may even feel to you like inspiration, because it's a momentum that is calling you to something. And while it's normal, and we are not encouraging you at all to try to not do that, because that's like asking the skier on the slope to stop that momentum just because you want him to. But we do want you to remember that there is another momentum that is so much more powerful, and it's going to be, it is much easier for you to tune into the frequency of that. And when you do, that momentum will give you not just a feeling of relief, it will be that and more. Not just a feeling of relief, but as we just said, feelings of clarity and feelings of eagerness and feelings of newness and feelings of creativity, feelings of more, clear thoughts and feelings of all that is now coming as a result of what you are living. When that happens to you, it's interesting to watch you, because it could be something, as you might call it, we don't, but you might call it something as insignificant as feeling like, oh, I think I'll make my bed right now. Or I have some time, I think I'll take a moment and clean out this drawer. I've sort of been tripping over its messy contents for a while. You will find yourself feeling these urges or impulses that will be inspiration from source energy. Because remember, your inner being knows right where you are and knows where you want to be and knows what the path of most allowance for you is. And so don't wait for big blasts of writing on the wall. Don't wait for the big thoughts. Don't wait for thoughts of exactly what you should do about everything now and later and later and later. Let it come to you in the frequency and in the momentum that you're able to receive, and let that be enough. Don't ask yourself to be more receptive than you feel. Just ask yourself to be as receptive as you can be. It's a really, really good idea. Something that we are always encouraging under all conditions, for you to not push against anything. Don't push against the situation, and don't try to identify blame somewhere within it. And don't push against yourself for where you stand or anyone who's up close to you. Because when you focus in an attitude of pushing against something, what you're focused upon becomes the point of attraction that you are at. And then the law of attraction gives you more momentum about that. So don't even push against not being able to help from doing that for a little while. What we're asking you to do is give yourself a break, and everybody else too. This is a wonderful opportunity for a sort of planetary rebooting, a restructuring of ideas and of priorities. And while there will be, for sure, what you will call a sort of getting back to what you want to call normal, we want you to know normal is not ever going to be what it ever was before. It's going to be so much better because of the upheaval of your own thoughts, because of the launching of your new rockets, and because of the collective consciousness, the collective vortex that is summoning in a powerful way. Sometimes when you're in a situation that you don't want to be in, you don't recognize that this situation is helpful in you getting ready to be ready to be ready to be ready for things you really do want. You've been asking for a lot of things, you as an individual and you as a mass consciousness, you as a cluster of people, or you as global consciousness. You've been asking for a lot of things, and you've been asking somewhat in an attitude of doubt about them at the same time. And already you're beginning to see planetary improvements, clear water in some places, wildlife returning, clear atmospheres, already things that you have been complaining about not being possible. Just with a little bit of adjustment to what's going on, you are seeing that there are solutions, ready to manifest solutions. And in just that way, there are ready to manifest solutions about everything. Everything that is personal to you, everything that is more broadly